Honest J. Nowak. Oh yeah. A pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to Honest J. Nowak. And now here, what I'd like to talk about today is actually something that I'm kind of in the middle for. I'm more neutral about this subject right here. If you look down at the title, then you pretty much know that we're all going into some serious crap loads. I'm basically going to be talking about something that's still around, even to this day. The Encaav pandemic. Now, I've already talked about Encaav itself and what it is capable of doing and what it has already done, but why don't I go ahead and just start talking about the pandemic itself and the amount of damage that it has caused to our government, our society, our economy, and the like. So let me just get this down for you. Encaav, of course, has been known for being first shown in China, but in reality it actually had first appeared around the Indonesian area. It did progress to China at some point around January. Of course, since the start of 2020 was when Encaav was really around, and the fact that it started to kill people then compared to how it is doing right now with killing a lot of people around the world, it's certainly just an anomaly of a lifetime. But basically, the start of 2020 alone was where it started for us. Worldwide, the Encaav viral infection itself first turned up around the Indonesian area, progressed to China, killed hundreds, and then because of international flights and all the other things that would have surrounded around it based on travels worldwide, whether it be for practical purposes or for tourism and the like, it eventually found its way to other countries around the world in just the next few months. It went that fast. That's how fast it was. And it was bad enough that we already had ourselves a pretty horrible virus out there killing so many people then, but currently the numbers are still pretty staggering. And the fact that the worldwide death count has reached more than 345,000 people all over the world. Of course, many people might actually try and just turn the tides on me and thinking that I'm the crazy one here who is just really going around telling unnecessary stuff, but that's only because you should not ever be concerned about only what's happening in your country. No. You should be concerned about what is going on everywhere else. These other people out there, many of them are allies that we've had in the past. And even to this day, we still do have a lot of good partnership with them. We have a lot of free trade with them. We have a lot of high-end communication with them. Heck, every single world leader comes together at some point in time. United Nations certainly knows what the crap that they're doing. But compared to many local citizens or civilians out there in any country worldwide, they might think otherwise. But no, the joke's on them. Because, especially from my perspective, I've simply known any other country out there as being a close ally of ours. Especially when we had a lot of these wars take place. We haven't had much happen for some time now. But I will imply, especially during World War II, we had a lot of people out there who tried to help us out with defeating the Nazi army. But going back to today, the Encaav pandemic is wrecking our planet. It is wrecking our economy. It is wrecking our government. It is simply making them do some bad choices here and there. Really bad ones here. And I will also imply really quickly that many people are going to tell us that the death rate here in 2020 is lower than how it was in 2019. Well, duh! The reason why that is because of all these lockdowns, quarantines, stay-at-home orders, shelter-in-place messages that have been brought on worldwide. It's a wonder why people are rarely coming out of their homes just to go do some practical stuff. And the thing is that the reason why we're not going to have many deaths is because people are listening to the news. They're paying attention to it. Especially me. I happen to notice every update on a daily basis. It's always updated no matter what news program I'm on. If it's CBS 58, if it's WISN, if it is TMJ, it doesn't even matter now, because after all, every single news program is specifically talking about our pandemic. I'm dead serious. Dead serious. God! I don't even know what to say anymore. But you know what? To tell you the truth, it's definitely true that the pandemic alone is really causing so many deaths worldwide, and the main reason for the fact that we're having a much lower death count itself compared to how high it was back then is because the rates based on homicides, drunk driving, motor vehicle accidents that would pretty much happen from the usage of a smartphone or whatnot, as well as hundreds of other different methods that a person could get killed, they are occurring much less often than they did last year. And that's always because of these quarantines. It's not because of anything else. These quarantines, lockdowns, stay-at-home orders, shelters in places, and many other things that our own government is telling us to engage in at all costs. That's what's stopping us from killing ourselves in hundreds of different ways. You cannot blame it on anyone but yourself for thinking that this is just nothing compared to everything else. The death toll is much lower now compared to last year because now that we're staying here in our own homes, rarely leaving, we're going to have a much better chance of survival at this point. We are not going to die from a lot of these things out there because we're not even out there doing a lot of this stuff. And yet here in the Menominee Falls area alone, a place that has nearly 40,000 people, I do see a lot of people out there on the road. But the main reason for that is because they need to stock on some of their essential items, including some foods and beverages, as well as toilet paper. Hopefully that's the last time I ever have to refer to that anomaly. And it's also hopefully going to be a time where I'm not going to call Encaav the coronavirus, because that's nothing. That's not a name that should have been applied to it. No, especially with the jokes revolving around the sun or the beer called Corona. And the fact is that why would the term virus be applied to the name? It's not like we call everything else a virus. No, we don't call it a swine virus. We don't call it an HIV virus. We don't call it an influenza virus. No, the majority of us today just call them HIV, swine, and influenza. There's no need to add the term virus to the name. So I just called it Encaav. Originally abbreviated as NCOV, which would stand for novel coronavirus, but no, I'm not going to by it that way. I'm simply spelling it as ENCAAV. End of story on that part. So, of course, if you're just gonna, go ahead and judge me wrong, then, go right on ahead. I dare you. Yeah, man. If you're not going to do nothing about it, then don't even try. So, hopefully that's all I got to talk about that part there. But in conclusion, everything I'm saying about it is as true as possible. Because I'm honest J. Nowak, not pathological lying J. Nowak. Otherwise, I would no longer be offering this series. I would have shut this series down if one lie had been detected. Also, end of story. So right now, I feel like that with all that I've already said about the Encaav pandemic itself and what I've already talked about based on it, and the virus itself is also a pretty horrible thing to come around to, The fact that we've lost hundreds of thousands of lives alone this whole year. I mean, we've already been through nearly 5 months of 2020. And it has also been around that same amount of time that the virus has been existing on this planet, killing people. Of course, there's a good chance that the virus itself might have been around for a much longer period of time. But the sad truth is that it's at the point now where we know that it's a dangerous living organism that will, in fact, kill people, no matter what happens. Its symptoms, of course, can range from some flu-like effects to behaving in similar ways to the human immunodeficiency virus, where it can cause some trouble for your immune system. But it can also hide itself or disguise itself for a very long period of time, depending on how long it is in your body. So this way, symptoms may not appear within your own body for a very long period of time, for weeks or even months. And then, by the time the virus does show symptoms, there's a good chance that in the time that it passed, from the time that you got it to the time that you started showing symptoms, that you might have infected more people. I gotta calm down now, so hopefully I don't have to talk more about that thing ever again. And even more so, I'm more than just hoping that we recover from all this. We are going to pull through this whole thing, no matter what the cost is. We're going to find a cure for it. We are going to find a way to keep our businesses alive. And I don't know about you, but Kaiju Force Neo ain't going nowhere, no matter what it is.